Welcome to Kings of the Crop. This is a show where we interview the top calypso monarchs here in Barbados. And today with me, I have none other than the most honorable Anthony, the mighty Gabby Carter. Gabby, how are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. A bit busy, but I'm good.
Great.
Thank you for sitting down with us. We just wanted to hear from you your thoughts on your involvement in the Pic-O-De-Crop competition over the years. And given that we're here, we can start from the very beginning. What inspired you to want to get into calypso in the first place?
Well, I always start with Miss Walcott. Miss Walcott is the grandmother of Minister Jerome Walcott. She was my next door neighbor, and she had the only gramophone in the neighborhood. And I used to hear her playing this music all the time, and I was like craving to get over there because I used to be hearing all kinds of music. She would play music, French music, from Haiti, Dominica, from Martinique, Guadeloupe, and then she would also play like Lion, Attila, Sparrow, Melody, Kitchener, and so on. And I was like, man, I would love to get in there. So I finally, a day, she asked me to do something for her, some little thing. I think it was going to the shop or something. And then I handed her the stuff by the window. She said, "You let it come in?" I said, "Oh, sure." And then I went in there and I saw this beautiful polished floor. And in the corner was this. I said, "What's that?" I said, "It's a gramophone." I said, "That's the thing I'll be hearing with the music?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Can I hear one of the songs, please?" "Sure." Ironically, she put on a Lord Kitchener song, Small Comb. "Kitch, come go to bed. I got a small comb to scratch your head. Oh, darling Kitch, don't make me cry. You know I love you. You're playing shy." I said, wow. I was fascinated. I mean, totally and completely fascinated from there. And I used to get a chance once a week to repeat the process. But I had to be on my P's and Q's 100% because Miss Walker never allowed me in the house unless she asked me, "Mother, Rose, he was behaving good." And if she ever said, that boy gets much trouble, if that ever occurred, which it never did, I know for sure, there's no chance that I would get a chance to hear that music, to hear that gramophone playing the songs. I was bitten from them. And then Radio Fusion would play once a week, calypso. I am there again. Then somehow I was born with this, not at that time, to total recall things that I hear. So if I heard a calypso once, I could sing it.
Straight through?
Straight through. And then, I lost the ability over the years, though, I must tell you that. But then it became a thing for me in terms of writing. I realized when I first started, I wrote a song. My first ever song was a song called "Vote for Motley and Get Free Cakey." And at that time, Motley's grandfather was the mayor of Bridgetown. And there was a campaign on, and they had people in that campaign. I don't know if it was for or against, I didn't know too much, about 10 years old.
Right.
But it was Mensia Cox, it was Emmy Cox, and a man called T.T. Lewis. And they were all keep meetings down Chapman's Lane and Emerton and so on, Emerton Cross Lane by Mr. World's shop and so on. And I would listen, and I just like what he's been saying, something make the people laugh and this and that. I said, wow, this politics thing, I didn't know nothing about it, but it sounds interesting. And I wrote this song, "Vote for Motley and Get Free Cakey." And I sang it. I asked my friends, of course, "Have you ever heard this melody, this thing, this tune?" No, fools inside. I said, Oh, so that means I wrote it then. And that was my first song. And all the neighborhood children sang it. It was simple, simple. Vote for Motley and get free cakey. Vote for Motley and get free cakey. Don't mind nobody. Don't mind nobody. Vote for Motley and get free cakey. And that's the whole song, no more. And the children would go around the neighborhood singing it, and then the big people started to sing it, and it became like almost like a campaign song. You know, that's my introduction to writing songs, period.
And then from that point on, how did you turn that into writing or competing in the Pic-O-De-Crop?
That credit goes to Romeo, my friend, Irvin Charles Smith. We were at St. Leonard's School, and he had already competed in the Barbados Calypso competition. And he asked me to come. I didn't think I was ready. He said, nah, man, Romeo, them is big, strong men. Do you want to get slaughtered or what? You're talking about Sivers and Charm, Sugar and men like that, Producer and them. I said, I can't compete with them, man. I said, man, no, man, come, man. I went in, look, I came second. Man, you just as good as me, man. You could come, man. I said, all right. I gave it in a thought. And I went in our first competition in 1965 against, of all people, Sudan. And Sudan was not an ordinary person, right? Sudan was very intimidating in his look, in his dress, his mannerisms, in his speech patterns, in the way how he conducted himself, in the fact that he was a Congomerian who did not at any time had to ride a bicycle or catch the bus or walk, because his mother used to supply him with a taxi every morning.
Wow.
So I want you to understand the image or the imagery of a Sudan. So when I went in, and Sudan looked at me, he said, why are you in this competition? Just give me your logical reason.
Is that what he told you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I said, oh, I just want to compete. No. You don't just come in to compete. You come in to win. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to come first, second, and third, which I will. But obviously, you have to find some way or space or place for other people to come second and third. So you can possibly win one of those. I see the number one. That's for Don Jose Lamont Marshall alias Sudan. That's not for anyone else. So make up your mind that that's it, okay? I said, yeah. It's intimidating for true, but so we went down by Filberto.
How old were you at that time?
I was 17.
And by that, do you remember how old he was at that time?
He would have been in his 20s, okay. I guess. Yeah.
But he had obviously been doing it for some time.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Quite some time before me. He probably started in late 50s, early 60s. I went down there, and Don asked me, Gabby, what are you doing here? I said, yeah, come to hear the rehearsal. He said, no. Phil, come. There are 7 days a week, and there are 12 of us competing. The other 11 can have 6 days. Wednesdays is Don Jose Lamont Marshall's day. So let the others pick out among themselves or with you and them what days they will rehearse and so on. But remember that Wednesdays is for me and me alone. I do not want to rehearse with anybody around except the band. I said, I wonder, could that request be carried out? So I see Philbert nodding. I said, oh boy, the answer is yes. I said, I don't care though. Next Wednesday, going down there. I said, Gabby, last Wednesday, it was clearly decided that Wednesdays belong to me. What are you doing here? I said, I come to here. Here what? Rehearse. Oh, okay. You're not leaving? No. Oh, okay. Band starting down. Bam, 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 bala, bala, bam, bam, bim, 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 bim. Not a word. There's nothing that intimidated me more than that. Because I didn't know what to expect. It's like, listening, hoping I could hear a few words or something, what subject he's singing, whatever. I don't know nothing of this sort. It stood me in good stead for the rest of my life, because every time I rehearse, and especially if I have a new song, I would never sing the lyrics at rehearsals. And I knew that used to intimidate the other guys because they're looking to find something to say about the song, or, you know, this so-called extempo or picong or whatever. I just call it plan conquer. Most of the times the guy done got the thing right already. Anyway, we went in. So Don came first, Romeo second, and me and Sugar tied for third. And that's how I started.
How were you feeling having won after only 3 years?
Well, remember, those 3 years I missed out, you know. They had no competition. And the next time they had the competition,
When you won?
I won. And that reminded me of something years later that Plastic Bag used to say, that I was the only Calypsonian who would stay out for a year, 2, 3, and come back and win, right? He always said that. Nobody else ever did that. Anyway, I won. So Don was sailing, right? He was like a seaman. So he came in next year and he said, Gabby, you won for one reason and one reason only. You know what's the reason? I said, no. It was because I was not here. You see, if I was here, again, second or third would have been your position. See, the number one, that is for Don Jose Lamont, Marshall alias Sir Don, okay? I said, Don, that scared me 3 years ago, but nah. I'm ready. Ready for what? Ready to win. No, Gabby, don't have illusions like that. You're ready to sing. There's a difference between sing and win, you know. You're ready to sing, to compete, but not to win. The win part is mine. Like, yeah, the Globe. When it was over, I was announced the winner. So Don came and he hugged me. He said, Gabby, you were fantastic. Listen to me. This Calypso thing is my hobby, okay? It's not my vocation. It is my hobby. But Don had a way of words. He always used these words to force you, if you didn't know, to go to the dictionary to find out what was the meaning. So I said, vocation? Listen to me. I never said anything about vocation, okay? I said vocation. There is such a word, okay? You go and look it up. I mean, look at it. It says work, you know, employment. It says. When I won, and he said that, he said, but for what I saw you exhibit here today, you should make Calypso your career. Even if you have something else doing, make sure that this is an integral part of your life. Because, Gabby, nobody can fool me about Calypso. And I'm sure you wrote this song yourself. Am I correct? I said, yes. Well, then, where that came from, there are lots of more songs that's going to come. You don't come at that level and just drop out. That's not happenstance. So therefore, I'm advising you to go into Calypso on a strong and permanent level. You're going to be successful.
Out of the 7 crowns that you won over the years, which one would you say was, which year was the most, the most challenging? Yeah.
Actually, I won 9 crowns, and everybody keeps saying 7. And they always dismiss the most important crown, and that was the King of Kings. I won King of Kings in '88. And why do I say it's the most important? Well, in that competition, the rules were you would have had to be a former monarch. 1. You would be singing what you think is your very best song that won a competition. 2. You had to sing a brand new independent song. 3. So to me, that was very hard because you are singing against guys that won competitions with songs that were brilliant. And then you also have to bring a brand new independent song but it was around the independence time.
Got it.
And I think bike dropped out at some point, but quite a number of former kings was in that competition. Destroyer was there, Romeo was there, Black Pawn, Ado, who had won. You could have won a road march or whatever, but you had to have won a title, place a title. A Serenader, Invader, so it was a tough competition. It was the toughest competition I ever went into. That competition and the one in 1985, when I won with West Indian politician and culture, would have been, to my mind, the toughest competitions that Barbados ever had. And I won both. But, I'll tell you something. Say what you like. My toughest competitor was Very Plastic Bike, without even the slightest doubt. And I remember Mark Finger telling me, say, Gab, I can admit this to you now. We used to plan how to beat you. We just compete, okay? We plan every aspect of how we're going to compete against you. First of all, we made sure that those stands were full of our people. When you look, you have to see red in front of you, okay? That's psychological advantage in a sense. So 2, the bike is on the stage, where this prop would be, where that light can do, everything is planned. Everything, because 2 things we acknowledge. We can't outperform you and we can't outsing you. So therefore, we had to find a way to beat you. And I have a lot of love and respect for you, man. I said, Matt, same thing for you and Stetson, because off the stage, pure gentleman. Competition, tough. Don't let nobody fool you that it wasn't tough. It was tough and intimidating, because when you get to the stadium, for example, I can't take freshly cut grass. Okay? So on most occasions, the grass is either cut the evening or the day in front for us. That's not enough time for that smell, for that thing to go. So I would stand outside by the fence, not in my tent. I go in that tent only to dress and dress really quickly, because I'd be like catching for breath. And I remember the night I standing by the fence, and the woman came down all red, and she said, "You, Gabby, you got cut your tail tonight. You're showing off with everybody in the tent. Look, I look at you out by a fence, like somebody see you, like you showing off." I said, "Darling, then true, I can't breathe in there." "Well, how you can't breathe? What's wrong with you? You can't breathe because you're frightened." Right? It's like, that's the kind of fans you have to meet with. And then, of course, there was some who were by my side and other artists and so on. But competing with bike was the hardest, toughest thing in competition I've ever come across.
When you look back at the competitions then, and perhaps compare it to the competitions that you watch now, because you're no longer in it competitively, what do you think is needed to kind of improve, or do you think that there's room for improvement?
No, you just got to go to the subject matter and deal with it properly. Proper melodies and proper lyrics. I was known for lyrics, I was known for melody. But both of us also had crosses in that he could also write pretty good melodies and I could also write pretty good lyrics. So we tried to bring a standard that we knew would be the benchmark for others to try to reach in years to come, or to surpass, if that's possible. And we took it seriously in terms of preparation, right? Matt Fingal taught me something that nobody else ever did, which might seem irrelevant, but very relevant to what I'm telling you. We were either in New York or Boston. I think it was New York. And I saw a friend of mine as I was coming into the hall to sing. So I stood up outside talking with my friend. After about 15 minutes, Matt left inside. Gabby, come here. I want to talk to you. You forgot the meeting? I said, the meeting? What meeting? You see what I mean? The man didn't remember the meeting at all. So I said, excuse me, I got. Matt said, there was never no meeting. I'm trying to get you from there. Because, you see that guy, what does he do for a living? I said, he's a very good electrician. Correct, Gabby. Exactly. I said, for me, exactly. Gabby, he doesn't work with his voice. His voice, he could get hoarse and he would still do his electrical work. If you get hoarse, stand up out there talking he. Or you lose some of that energy that you always have on stage. You are going to be disappointed in the people that pay their money that come here to see you perform. It's as simple as that, Gabby. There's no magic to that. There's no Solomon business going on here. It's simple. See him after the show. And you can talk for 18 hours after that. You get my point? I say, yeah, Matt, you're making sense. He said, but come, man, come in here. This is supposed to be a man that is supposed to be preparing plastic bag to compete against me, you know. But the love that Matt had for the art form and for the way how he was, see Barbados rise was absolutely amazing. You know, and Mikey, thank you.
And then lastly, the competition was much different in terms of the fact that you probably had to compete with 2 songs. Competition now is 1 song and they've eliminated the semifinals. Do you think the 1 song is
it obviously wouldn't be as competitive. Because when you have to prepare 2 songs, you have to be extremely good in one and at least good in the next one, right? In some cases, you're very good. I don't want to make it sound terrible, but in our days of competing, on many occasions, both songs were good. Not just for me and by from all the artists, right? And I remember a year, I think it was the same 85 year, as I was walking out the stadium going to the car, I heard this man say, "The first half alone carry my money. This is what you call calypso." And anybody that had won tonight, I would be happy with it. It was that close. And I said, "Skipper, thank you, man." He said, "Man, no, I got to thank you and Bag and Invader and the Destroyer and Pops, Spompy and Serenade and Grind and all the one that built this thing, man. I got to thank you, Viper and Romy and all the others, man." I say, "Man, thanks, man." But another important point I must make, Eddie Grant, he was never for the competition, you know. He was about making good, first-class quality music. And whenever I compete, he said, "Yeah, but why are you going back in there, man?" I said, fans calling and I said, "Yeah, but if you come in, you sing this here and you win, they can say, well, you know, you got to defend. And if you go and get beat, they're going to say, Garrett, you never come back and show them that you still got it." The fans are never going to be satisfied. Because that's you. That's your decision. But for me, I'll just sit down and watch it and help anybody that I can. And it took me a long time after he said that, meaning decades, to decide, you know what? Time for me to step out and help whoever I can. It doesn't mean I wasn't helping all the time, you know, because there was a competition that I signed, and believe it or not, at the semi-final, I had 14 songs that I had written. 2 for me and 12 for other people. And I remember at the finals, I had 7 songs. And as I went up, and they called me as I went up to receive the first place, I saw the look on the faces. And it was pain. Pain for them and pain for me. I said, what the hell am I doing in this competition again? These are my friends, my students, people that I write for, and some of them have never won once, and no time to step down and enjoy the thing the same way. But a lot of fights in this calypso. If I call Matt name again, I had with NCF for prize monies, for better conditions, for a whole lot of things, right? And I remember a headline in the Nation screamed, "Gabby rocks stadium after winning over officialdom," right? And I told myself, that's semi-finals. I don't think that I'm going to win the finals. That headline was potent. It was speaking loudly. I came second. I'll tell you what, it was a close competition. I don't want to go into details of it, but that year I had a lot of fights, I had a fight with the Minister of Culture at the time, that I called Nigel last name. Anyway, I had said that we needed, for this year, last year, all the 10 bands be playing for their own artists.
Playing, okay.
Right? I wasn't against the one band, but I was saying that it was too short a time. It was about a week or so. I said, I'd acclimatized to go to this new band. We had never tried that format before. So let's finish this year, let all the bands play, and from the next year, let's have the one band playing for all the artists. Well, the artists, some on my side, some against it, but I used to collect all the tickets for all the guys that competing. Hey, when I got to collect the tickets, they gave me my tickets only. I said, but where are the other guys' tickets? Oh, the other guys have decided that they wanted to collect their tickets themselves. I said, not true. What do you mean by not true? I said, you all made that decision. You all decided to get the collections to themselves because you want to find out individually from them if they are going to compete or not. So what you're telling me is not truthful, but it's a good tactic. It's a good thing that you did for yourself, not for us. But I had to pull a bluff. I said, but I told them that when they come to say that they're competing, but they are not competing. So they are going to tell you that they're competing. It was the biggest bluff I ever come because I never talked to the guys to find out if they're competing or not. But I said they're not competing. And I remember going with David Ellis for interview. And Ellis said, we have Gabby here. And seems as though he is God because he has decided to not only not compete himself, but to hold the whole festival to ransom by getting the vast majority of Calypsonians on his side are not competing this year. I said, David, I'm not God. But he had to make somebody close to him. He says, he a deadbeat. So let me tell you, no competition unless the bands play.
Do you ever see yourself competing again?
No, of course not. If they made the money now, $1 million US, I would not be there as a competitor. I might be there as a writer. I write for anybody. I never differentiated between people who were for Battleground Pen or who was for Untouchables or who were for All Stars or, Conquerors or whoever. I always wrote with the intention of trying to lift the festival to the highest standard. Never about personal glory. It was never about how much crowns I gonna win, how much I gonna lose, how much this, that, not that. It's the thing. When that patron pay their money and they sit down for that 4 or 5 hours and they exit in that place, I want them to say, what a competition.
right, Gabby, thank you so much for your time as one of the kings of the crop. I don't take this interaction very lightly. I'm actually appreciative of it. And thank you very much for watching, and please stay tuned.